Hi, and welcome to King's Football Show. This is the Premier League podcast, and today I got two very special guests here. I got my brother CM. How you doing, bro?
Fantastic, bro. Happy to be here. It's been too long.
Yeah, it's definitely been too long. It's been too long. And I got my other brother co-host Hano. How you doing, bro? Maybe Hano. I think he'll be back soon, guys. We'll introduce him when he's back. Looks like he's up to something. But yeah, man. Uh, It's good to have you on. Uh, I think Man United are doing well. What do you make of Man United and Eric Ten Hag so far this season?
You know what? At the start of the season, it was easy to feel negative after that chaotic start, losing those two games in the manner that we did. I think since then we've been able to develop our game. Every facet of our game has developed since then. We've learned from it, not just physically, but mentally. You can see that there's a sense of togetherness when it comes to the team and a bit of continuity, which is good when you're trying to gel and create that kind of team atmosphere, mesh everybody together. But at this moment of time, except for the obvious ownership and stuff like that, when you focus on the team, for me, there is a good feeling around everybody else. You're seeing improvements in certain guys like a Rashford coming back into their own when they were almost losing themselves. Guys like Bruno Fernandez improving ever so slightly. Casemiro really growing into his role. You've seen Ericsson, Lissandro, and Varane, even though he's injured, really striking up a nice partnership together. You're seeing development all over the pitch. And look, it's going to take a while before everything does mesh. We become a proper team. But if we're developing over time, and I think that's what we as Manchester United fans need to appreciate and accept rather than trying to go for that instant success that isn't sustainable.
100%. And here he is. Hano is finally
Hey,
here with us. How you
yeah,
doing, Hano?
I'm good. Yeah, sorry, I just had to grab a quick drink, but yeah,
No, no worries, no worries. What do you make of Man United so far and Eric Ten Hag?
so of course we know United with the ownership like Sim said. I think um, I have grown respect for Eric Ten Hag and that United team because you look what they did to Chelsea. They played us off the park. And if you look last season, even maybe under Jose Mourinho, they would have sat back. We would have had all the chances, all the position in the world, and we maybe should have won then in the past. But you look, Eric Ten Hag, he came with a game plan. Could say Potter got it a bit wrong. He was a bit naive, but still, he even changed it up and still United dominated. So I have grown respect for Ten Hag after we faced them, and what he's building at United is definitely something great. Right, Bobby Casey's hashtag Hannah out. Bobby. Nah. You already know. Bobby out. The kids who must take over your channel, Bobby. You already know. They're too smart for you. They're too young for you. Let them take over. You need to go into retirement or
Love
home
the rivalry, love the rivalry.
right now.
But yeah, I have to echo. I have to say when I look what Eric Ten Hag has done, and first of all, the way he's dealt with the transfer window was very impressive. Where he knew what he wanted and he went for those players. Yes, he didn't get Frankie De Jong, but he got Ericsson, he got Lisandro, he got Casemiro, he got Malacia, and you have to say all of them have looked good in spells. But what's most impressive for me with Man United under Ten Hag is that United become a team you don't want to play anymore. It's that
Yeah,
grit. That players that are there to. They're ready for war. They will kick you. They will be aggressive. They will be up to your face. And if I'm a United fan, I would take that. And you've done well. I mean, I think people forget. I think you've played all the top six teams, and
They
really,
lost one.
you only
They
lost to
lost one.
City, and you should have won against Chelsea. You beat us 3-1. You beat Liverpool as well. So
Beat
uh,
Liverpool.
and Tottenham. I think Tottenham game was your best game of the season, and you really showed that. I think you showed Tottenham and Conte that you know what, you can be disciplined in defense, but you can still play good football. And I think that's what's lacking a bit with Tottenham right now, is that Conte is very, very disciplined, but he probably needs to let the handbrake go a bit and play more attacking football. But yeah, yeah, I've been impressive with Ten Hag, and the way even he dealt with the Ronaldo situation. You know, it's dealt with. You know, he suspended him for one game, and now he's back in the squad, and there's no more drama. And again, it just shows that he's a strong leader who's not afraid of any player, but also he will give you a second chance. I mean, look at Luke Shaw. You know, at the beginning of the season, he was on the bench, but now he's playing. You know, at the beginning of the season, Casemiro was on the bench, but now he's playing. So it's like, just because you're not starting, that doesn't mean that all hope is gone for you. I think he's shown good management skills as well. So yeah, so
Yeah.
far I'll probably give him an 8 out of 10 so far, or even a 9 out of 10 if you look at the teams they've faced.
Yeah, and I have to agree with what you're saying in terms of the way he's managed the team. I think this season more than ever is important with having team depth and competition in areas. So, like you mentioned, with guys like Luke Shaw, with the centre backs that we have, especially with Varane getting injured, those guys are gonna have to bring their A game. And quite frankly, the team needs them, and the manager needs them to bring their A game in the end of the day. Because as much as we've enjoyed the continuity in terms of team selections and players doing well in certain positions, you need to have those guys that are readily available to rotate so that we can keep our top players fresh at the likes of whether it's Anthony, whether it's Ericsson in midfield, Bruno Fernandez, Rashford, who we don't want to risk burning out like he has been in previous years. Even our centre backs, whether it be Lissandro, Malacia or Luke Shaw, so many guys. We're seeing it with the low actually because we don't have much rotational options except for Aaron Wan-Bissaka and maybe if we drop down to somebody in the academy. So that's probably somebody that you would look at to prioritize getting a move in January.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And hashtag reel is out. We need to run it. We need to run it again. It's been a while. Yes, I see him
Oh,
misbehaving in the chat, saying he wants Arsenal relegated. After all the praise I gave United, that's how you repay me.
eh, I,
You know.
I think everyone wants Arsenal to relegate it, just so the the Ars fans that are over excited and goes beyond what they
Listen,
should be going.
don't hate the player, hate the game, man.
Okay, the deluded fans. That should just be some spectacle. It's
Yeah.
just gets relegated.
Let's move on to Chelsea. Obviously, you sacked Thomas Tuchel during the season. I think after 3 games, and Graham Potter has taken over. And I think it's fair to say it's been a mixture of results. You've looked good in some games. You looked a bit lost in other games. What do you make of Graham Potter so far, Hano?
I think Graham Potter is still experimenting for what is his best 11. But if you look, we're unbeaten in what the 8 games we have played, one all 3 Champions League games he has played in. Oh, no, yeah, we won. In the
I
third
think he
game,
drew the first one, if I'm not wrong.
we lost the first 2, we won the first 3. So yeah, the other 3. So we won the 3 Champions League games. games, and we definitely have looked shaky. But I think um, it's as soon as uh, there's a bit of what can I say, unsettledness in the team. Look, with Aston Villa, I yeah, with Aston Villa, we looked shaky, but again, that was because you look, Rich James was out. Now we were like, oh shit, as we had to play a full 90. Then you had to switch it up quickly. So it's that stuff of can he balance it out, make it an equal playing field? But again, it will come with the transfer window. But he has done really well, and how he has transformed like the squad. I think I want to after a few more games, I want to do a show. Oh, what was really wrong with Chelsea? Was it the players that fell out with Tuchel? Was it Tuchel that just played wrong players, or what went wrong? But I think he's got that players on his side, and I think last time we saw the players on the manager side was that Champions League run we had before we won was the Champions League final. So I think before before that we we weren't doing uh, weren't doing great. I think that's also one of the reasons why the likes of Rudiger and as not SB
Alonso.
Christensen left and and a few of the others, because you look, why why would all these players leave just after you win the Champions League final? Why would performances drop up and so forth? So it's definitely been a rocky um, start in some games. But you look, I think Potter, he knows what he's doing. I think um, him and Ten Hag are almost on the same level. I just think Ten Hag knows his squad a bit more, bit, bit more, so he knows who he can trust. As I, so we almost in that period where United were in the first two games, but ours is just a bit longer
Yeah,
because Potter is so unexperienced
yeah, and no
at the highest
preseason as
level.
well.
So, but he's done great. You look, we drew with United. We beat. Um, let me just get our
Yeah, I think so far I've been impressed by Graham Potter. I think it was the right appointment for Chelsea. If you guys have patience, I think if you want immediate success, he's not the guy. But if you guys have patience and you kind of give him this project and you let him get his players in so he can play his style of football, I think he's shown that he's a quality manager and he can definitely bring a longer stability of success to Chelsea if the
yeah
patient is there. Because I do think that with the Premier League, you need to have patience because the level City have added to the league. If you don't have patience, you're never gonna catch them. Like you just have to look at Liverpool. Like if they didn't have patience with Klopp, they would never get to that level, and no other team has been able to kind of match City and Liverpool. So I do think that
yeah
you took the right decision. I think with Tuchel, I think a lot happened with him, like at the wrong time. The ownership with Abramovich just went gone. He had that divorce as well after being married for so many years, and all of that happened at the same time. And he was unlucky to lose both finals on penalties. I think mentally he probably needed a break because it felt like he kind of fell out with a lot of the players and something was wrong in that dressing room. So I do think even though it was harsh, I think you guys made the right decision. Maybe should have sacked him before the summer window. Would have made more sense, but it happened. New ownership. You're gonna make mistakes, but I think you guys are in good hands if as long as you have patience. For me, I don't know. What's your thought on Chelsea, CM?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, and I even add on to say, in terms of having patience, it comes from the board, it comes from the ownership as well. Because when you think about it, the blueprint of having patience right now in the Premier League are the team that's at the top, Manchester City, and have been at the top for a good part of last decade and will be at the top for a good part of this decade. Whether it's been with managers like Roberto Mancini, a Pellegrini, and now Pep Guardiola, they have changed their managers in certain scenarios, but they always stayed consistent with what they wanted in terms of recruiting not just managers but players to fit a certain mold around their team. They've always wanted to play a certain way, and that has helped them in building this long term consistency of staying at the top, being the best team in England, being one of the best teams in Europe, and fighting to win that Champions League title year in, year out, even though they haven't got to it. They've always been consistent and they've wanted to develop everything around them, the training ground, state of the art, the stadium, the area around them, the whole city that they're in. So they've always wanted a bit of consistency when it comes to the people who support them and giving back to the people who support them, but also what's happening internally within the club. So a lot of Premier League teams can learn from that. Manchester United, have got rid of managers in certain times. Some people may have said it's been the right time. Some people may have said the wrong time. And the same with other teams. Arsenal have got rid of some managers at certain times. Chelsea as well. They've been known for chopping and changing managers and having a bit of success from there, but also having some really, really low moments. So if you want the top teams to be sustainable in the Premier League and you want the product of the league to almost get better with time, then teams are gonna have to use that model of sustainability rather than rushing to be successful because it's not gonna get you anywhere. When you look in the history books, you're gonna see probably one league title and then a few down years, which is not what you need, especially financially. That can hurt a team.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that
I
definitely.
agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
but
let, yeah,
to come back on your point of the sustainab- on not the
on Potter.
sustainability and the long term and patience, you look. We gave him a 5-year contract. I think that was the main thing. If we didn't give him a five-year contract, I think you could see like Bowley is like I will see where this goes, but I'm not going to get over um, excited. Um, um, but I think he's going to back him. You look what he's done with the Dodgers. He's back the coach um, for a long time now. I think their coach has been at their club for almost 10 years, something like that. Right? So yeah, I just think he's going to stay here. But if things happened and he falls out of the board, it's going to get ripped. It's going to get ripped apart and to be sent back to uh, the job center like Tuchel was. Because you look, Tuchel, he fell out of the board and he got sacked. If that happens to Potter, I wouldn't be surprised if he fell out of the board. But just my uh, response to what you guys are
What's,
on
what's good
about.
with what's good with you lot as well is the fact that you're now employing people internally in those board positions that can work better in making those transfer decisions for the manager, and they can communicate better with him. Before in the summer, there may have been situations where transfers negotiations were all over the place, but now you're starting to employ and bring in some reputable names who will be able to improve and work with the manager in creating his own vision and his own team.
Yeah.
What do you make of this comment from Bobby K? He say it was harsh to sack Tuchel. Man was going through a divorce at the same time. Instead of supporting him, they threw him away. Heartless club, shameful. Some very strong comments
I
there from
wouldn't
Bobby
say
K.
artless club. Bobby, if, if Bowley is a man on a mission. I know Tuchel was going through a divorce, but he's a man on a mission. He wants success, and that was the only way you could get success because him and Tuchel wasn't on the same page. Um, sorry,
This
not
is-
sorry,
I
as the
think
saying goes.
in the end, at the top of any successful kind of company, empire, football, sport club, there's no room for sentiment, unfortunately. Like that's the reality. And if it's not working, especially if the CEO and the manager coach, if they're not working with each other, one gonna have to go, and it's always gonna be the manager. Unfortunately, we just live in that world now. I think where the only time you get time if you buy yourself time. It's kind of work in that way, and it's harsh. There's no doubt it's harsh, but football fans doesn't have patience anymore. The media, pundits, journalists, no one will give you time, so you kind of have to buy yourself time. I'm sure, like if Ten Hag, after the first two games, if he was continue to losing games, there would be a whole nother energy towards him. So is it, you just have to make the most of it. But big up for everyone that's tuned in. Big up for the comments as well. Rusty is saying we held on to a certain Scandinavian manager for way too long. I think he's talking about Ole. But I think the difference is that when Man City is employing a manager, they already know who they're employing, what the philosophy is, what kind of player that manager is. And I think that's been the issue with your United and Arsenal before. It's like we hired like Unai Emery, but there was no plan, like there was no thoughts about, okay, this is the style of play we as a club want. Let's go and get that manager. It was more like, okay, here's a manager who's won stuff, he's available, let's employ him. And that's not sustainable. And I think if you want success, you have to identify that manager first, and then you gotta give that manager a chance. And big up Eddie. You got an interesting comment here from Eddie. He's saying, I hope we eventually get more of a football climate where we see teams press more. What is your thoughts on making every goal worth a point? It would surely make teams attack more. So basically, if you score
So,
five, you get 5 points.
mm,
I don't know about that one still.
yeah,
I don't know. It feels like a change where it doesn't need to be made. I hear it out, but it doesn't need to be made at the same time.
yeah,
I feel like
Yeah,
when it comes to football, there's
yeah,
always a beauty in the game with the different types of tactics that are played. And I know at times you can be frustrated by those teams that will sit at the back, defend, and then they'll take advantage of that one mistake and lapse of concentration, and then all of a sudden they score the goal. But there's even a beauty within that when you think about it and you break it down ever so slightly, even though at times it can be frustrating when it doesn't work out. And there's so many different variants of football when you look around the world, so many different continents, whether you go into places like Brazil, you come over to Europe, England, France, Germany, wherever. There's so many different ways that people play the game. For me, the biggest frustration in football at this moment of time is the way that not just the media, but the governing bodies are trying to suck the life out of the game, whether it be through changing the rules. You know, we've been through this VAR stuff already, the
Yeah,
way referees and the decisions that are made. But not even just that. I'm looking at the media yesterday and many other occasions who include people who have played football previously, some people who are legends of the game, and those
yeah,
guys are criticizing people for showing emotions, for being themselves. In such a day and age where we see so many robots, robots of players who are looking out for their brand and afraid to express themselves in risk of being
Ronaldo.
judged, in risk of being, hey, you're not wrong, in risk of being criticized and stuff like that, and everybody. I remember one time Neymar, he gets booked in a game for showboating. I mean, come on now, Vinicius Jr. getting criticized for dancing when he scores a goal. Yesterday, Anthony, he does the skill, and to be fair, he misplaced the pass. But then it wasn't just a focus during the game. They spent like 2 minutes showing replays and criticizing the skill, but they also focused on it after the game. They focused on it the next day as well. I mean, come on, and he even put out on Instagram a little post. I'm not gonna stop being who I am because this is what got me here in the first place. So
I love
many of
that.
these people, yeah, so many of these people in the game, whether it be the media, whether it be previous footballers who themselves they and it's funny because so many of these guys played in an era that was hard hitting, all about showing emotion and your passion for the game when there wasn't a lot of money in it. You weren't getting paid the millions of pounds and dollars and euros that these guys are getting paid in this current generation. So you had to play and show your passion. You had to get the best out of yourself to be one of the most recognized players in the world at the time. And these are the ones who are criticizing and continue to be hypocritical towards this current generation of players. And to me, I don't get it. And I'm even speaking about towards the media, these guys, these broadcasters, these pundits. There's so much biasness in the media nowadays. And it's funny because myself, I spent the last 3 years studying in journalism. And the
Yeah,
one thing they say is not to be biased, not to show a bias, fair
yeah.
broadcasting, fair reporting, fair journalism. And a lot of these companies, whether it be Sky Sports, they're heading more towards the entertainment type when
Yeah,
you're looking for these sensationalist headlines and getting people talking online, but it's not fair. There's so
it's
much
not.
biasness.
It's not. And if you really deep it, yeah, all the all our previous legends in the game that we really talk about, whether it's Pele or Maradona, whether it's R9, whether it's Ronaldinho, you know, we look up to these people because they used to entertain us. We can go back and we can show you clips about Zinedine Zidane. We can show you clips about Cantona, Dennis Bergkamp, Gianfranco Sola, all these players because they used to entertain us. That is why we loved football. As a kid, I went to the playing ground trying to learn how to do dribbling skills. I didn't go to the playing ground trying to learn how to tackle or be nasty or be hard. Like, what's the point of football? Football is a sport. Sport is supposed to entertain us. But if we take away the X factor from Neymar, the X factor from Dino, Messi, Anthony, it would be so boring. It would really be boring. And I feel like no one is representing them in the media. And it's not fair. All we hear is, your Roy Keanes, your Glenn Hoddles, your Paul Scholes, and they're all talking rubbish. They are. And it's like you said, like they're just getting like clickbait headlines, controversial topics just to sell numbers. But no, improve on your skills, improve on your way, the way you break down football, the way you analyze football. Talk about these ballers that we see less and less of. Because in the end, if they die out, young people, will start watching other sports. It's only in football you get this criticism. If you watch NBA, they will never say, "Oh no, that was too skillful from the NBA player. He gotta stop that. He needs to play more rough. It's only in football you get that. Like you do something that's amazing, and how can you get a yellow card for a showboot? Tell me in what rule of football it tells you this is the amount of showboot you can do, and you won't hear any criticism for the ref giving him yellow card. All you hear about, oh, Neymar is disrespecting this player. I don't even understand what that means, honestly. And it's sad because I, as a kid, I used to love watching, Rui Costa, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Cantona, Bergkamp, Denilson. Like that's the football I love. And it's like there's no respect for that kind of football anymore. It's almost like, being a flair player, you are the enemy. And now they're trying to scapegoat Anthony. Yes, he missed the pass, but it's not the end of the world. How many missed passes happened that game? Did they highlight any of them? But it's like, okay, he did one thing, he did one skillful thing, and because he misplaced the pass, it's an issue. It's ridiculous for me.
No,
Sorry for
bro.
the rant,
And
but yeah,
it's it's this it's this pursuit for perfection that's been created in this social media age. Whether you look at certain things and you think that is the standard, whether it is or whether it's not. This pursuit for perfection is happening in sports where you're taking away the emotion, you're taking away all the entertainment factors that gripped fans, made them sit down in their seats week in, week out and watch games. You're taking that all out to almost create a perfect image, which is impossible.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. It's true. It's true. And I feel like, these days, they don't even talk about the fact that watching good football is something tangible. Winning trophies are bonus. But it's almost like, as a fan, you should settle with watching bad football if that brings you trophies. But the reason why I fell in love with certain teams of Arsenal teams in the past is the brand of football that they played. Trophies is always a bonus. Yes, you want your team to win, but no team is gonna win every time. But it's you gonna watch your team 50, 60, 70 games of the season. And do you want to spend all those hours watching something you don't like just to lift one trophy at the end of the season? Or do you want your team to entertain you? Do you want to be excited? Do you want to look forward to the game? Do you want to rewatch it? Go on, find clips. Like it's like we don't even talk about those things anymore. And
we
skies
like
and
Tottenham.
BTs.
We don't want to play shite for the whole season and then win a trophy and celebrate it. We like
Yeah,
Tottenham. So,
yeah.
but
Yeah, let's let's
it
let's let's move into Tottenham. By the way, before like, what do you make of Tottenham and Anthony Conte, Hano, so far?
it's a mixed bag because look, they failed in the table. Well, they most likely will qualify for Champions League knockouts. Ten- Maybe they won't. Maybe there's always a case they can't, but they should be able to. But you look their style of play, and everything, their performances is not good. We all know that. But wow, just to see how bad they really are is shocking. Because many people thought they maybe get second. They can, but you look how they're playing right now doesn't seem good. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. So, no, it's def. It's like it's hard to judge because you look. Of course, Spurs fans are saying no. It was Conte not back. That's why we're playing so poor. But I think Conte has got it wrong sometimes, and because I know maybe he has already fell out of the players because just doesn't seem like this is anything pushing these players. Yes, because you look when they started under Antonio Conte, uh, and he started to get them in. They were playing good football, end of the season, and we're like, wow, what Conte? We don't know what you did, but well done, well done. You got them top four. Now it's just looking like Conte. What has happened to you? Have you lost some brain cells or what? Because I know they have not gotten all the players he wanted, but still, um, it's
Yeah,
I, if I have to base it off their performances, where they lie on the table, I have to give him a six. I think he's done the worst out of all, all three of the managers we are discussing, um, or have discussed.
yeah.
So
I mean, I think even if you win your game in hand, you go above
yeah,
Tottenham,
yeah,
and
and
Man
you look,
U go same point with them. So it just shows you that their bad performances is catching up with them.
yeah,
What do
and
you make of Conte and Spurs, CM?
Yeah, they're a strange team, a shaky Champions League campaign so far. In the Premier League, they seem to have got off quite nicely. They were getting results, they were winning games. And even though at times you see even some of their fans saying this football is so frustrating to watch, when you think about it, they went from Mourinho, they went from Nuno, and now they're with Conte. So similar types of negative football. And then
Yeah,
it's like, this one has to work out. So when they start the season as well as they did in the Premier League, you start to think, okay, maybe we have something here this season. You saw how they prepared in terms of those rigorous preparations in preseason where guys were dropping down on the floor, vomiting and all of that stuff. But it was gruesome. But
yeah,
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But
yeah,
they're going through a shaky period now. It's gonna show how much this team respects and wants to play for the manager, depending on how they go through this tough period of time. Because with what we'll see from all the top teams, they have tough periods, but they fight through it, and they're able to go out on the other side where they're winning games again and they're playing well again. I think Tottenham, they have the players, you have the ability to dig them out of situations. You know what Harry Kane can do. Heung-min Son, who hasn't really had a great season coming off of winning a Golden Boot. They have many more great players to go from that. Defensively, before they were a little shaky, they played all right. And what we know about Conte is if the players buy in, he's able to elevate a lot of players where you may have thought that guy ain't gonna cut it. There's still a lot of the season to go. So far, I think there's been more good than bad if you take the results into countering. Now, maybe you can oppose that when you think about the Champions League form and obviously what's going on now and their playing style. You want to be winning games if you're going to be playing that way, which is kind of what we were speaking about before. Nobody likes that kind of brand of football, but yeah, they have the players to turn it around. But if the season doesn't work out, then they're really they should be questioning when they turned against Pochettino all those years ago, because what he was able to do for that team, what he was able to do for that club, turning around and developing a lot of players. He done so much for Spurs, and it seems like in the his really first dire moment, they turned against him.
yeah,
So they, for me, for many years now, through all the managers they've been through, I've always questioned that one moment that they turned against Pochettino and said you weren't good enough anymore for us going forward for everything that you did done for the club. So if this doesn't work out, even more questions needs to be put on those higher above making those decisions at Spurs.
yeah. I definitely think Spurs fans regret that one. They were one of the teams, and it pains me as an Arsenal fan to say this, but they were one of those teams in the league that they played a very effective and kind of entertainment brand of football. It was very hard to face them. They had a lot of young players that you could identify to their club and what Pochettino wanted to do, and they kept getting better, even though they weren't really investing. And as you said, he had one bad spell with no backing, and it was gone. It was almost like, oh, everything you've done for the past 4 or 5 years, it means nothing, and we are not gonna try and even back you and see if you can get us get us back to where we want to be. Because and I feel like after that, they went with Mourinho, that didn't work out. They went with Then they had that summer where they tried to hire like 10 to 15 different managers, and they ended up with Nuno. That didn't also work out. Now they put all the eggs in Conte. And really, if it doesn't work out with Conte, it doesn't look like that bright for Tottenham, because they can no longer rely on, Son and Kane are at their peak right now. They're probably not going to become better footballers. They might stay on that level for maybe 2, 3 years, but they're definitely not going to get better. And then what's coming after that? It's not like Tottenham are not known for having a academy full of young players that's going to come up and help them. They don't really have the pedigree of a club where if it doesn't work out with Conte, you can rely on them getting it right with the next manager, because really they failed on that department as well. So it is kind of worrying times. Yes, Conte, he has the CV to give him the benefit of doubt, but I definitely think he needs to improve on the brand of football if he wants the fans to keep backing him, because they play awful football and they still got players like Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Richarlison, Perisic, Bentancur, Bissouma, Hoiberg. Like they still got enough of quality player to play a better brand of football. And also, Conte didn't want a creative player. I really think they missed out on Ericsson. I felt like he would be perfect in that team and give them that kind of X factor where Kane doesn't have to be the only creative outlet, which he kind of is now. And I also think it's a bit weird when we've looked at Conte's teams before, and someone like Jet Spence, he doesn't play him. He rather play Emerson, but Emerson is a very defensive wing back. He's not. I know he's Brazilian, but if you didn't know his passport, you wouldn't know he's Brazilian. He's very kind of, he's not very creative. He's not very flair. He doesn't do well in the final third. So it's a bit weird that that team that relies so much on the wing backs, they play with such a defensive one, even though he's not showing why he should believe in him. So it's gonna be interesting. I think the next games up until, let's say, the January window, is gonna have a big determination on where Tottenham is going, because I do think that clubs like Chelsea and Man United are on the up, and if he's not careful, they're gonna drop down from that top four.
Yeah. But on Spurs being so one-dimensional, I think you can draw it back to Chelsea if you look under Tuchel, because you look, we sometimes play just sat back and played awful football at sometimes
Yeah,
and you can just shows I think the back formation and playing so defensive. I think that's almost gone from football. Um, I I don't know what formation is Jose Mourinho playing at Roma. I think. What is it? Let me look. But if he's playing three at the back, then he's one of the only managers that can get it right. Because even look Jose Mourinho, he's playing five at the back, maybe even 10 at the back with one up front, and he's and they still didn't win when they still concede. It isn't really anything to um, like be proud of. Let me just look. Roma. Yeah, they still play three at the back. Yeah, they 3-4-2-1. But
Yeah, I think
it works in
we're
some leagues.
reaching.
It works in some leagues, but not in
Yeah,
all. Even
but
Inter still played in. I think
yeah,
maybe just in the Italian league, but not in.
yeah, I definitely think we're starting to reach a point where that kind of brand of football is being a bit outdated, and managers like your Mourinho's, your Conte, they really need to, your Tuchel, they really kind of need to show that they are world class managers, and find another style of play. I think one of the reasons why Sir Alex was so successful was because he could always switch his up. He Sir Alex, he was never loyal to one brand of football. Like, you can see teams where it was a lot counter attack. You could see teams where we're relying on the wingers. You could see teams where it was a lot individual quality. But I think with Conte right now, there are questions in regards to, can he play a more attacking football? Can he do better in Europe? Can he take Tottenham to the promised land and win them titles? But I know that CM, you got a bounce. I put your channel on the link. You can quickly tell people where they can find you as well.
Thank you, King. Big up, Hano. Thank you for having me, man. Gotta run this back again. You can find me at CM22ENT on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, basically.
Yeah, man. Big up CN for joining, man. We definitely have to do more podcast. It was a good one, and thanks for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you on, brother, man.
Blessings, blessings. Big up you guys once again. Big up to everybody in the chat. I'll see you soon, man. Take care,
All
people.
right, bro. Take care, bro.
Check it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, those were the three kind of managers I wanted to discuss today, because I feel like they are new managers to the big six clubs, and it's interesting to see how they are doing. But I do feel like Eric Ten Hag and Potter are doing better jobs right now. But you can never count out an experienced and as successful manager as Conte is, and let's see what he does in the next few games. I think
Yeah.
Tottenham next game is, they're playing Bournemouth, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Bournemouth away.
Yeah, so they
Bournemouth
need
have
to.
been on
They,
winning unbeaten streak. Then they got their first loss against West Ham. So they
yeah,
might still be unconfident. So you never know.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah. Tottenham definitely need to win that game after two straight losses, because they got Liverpool. Sorry, after that. So, and they haven't done well. They haven't beaten any top six side this season. Even they lost even to Newcastle, which they are doing very well, man. But big up to everyone that's tuned in today. It's been great. The support's been mad. All of you that have tuned in, we've had so many good comments. I've seen them, and and the podcast been a great success. And big up CM as well. Much respect to him. Guys, make sure you subscribe to his channel. Make sure you subscribe to Hannah's channel. And let's keep on building this great community that we have. And before that, Hannah, where can people find you?
So yeah, on YouTube, Coach's Corner. On Instagram, Hanu underscore Coach underscore Corner. Um, and you can also find me on hashtag Bobby Out Twitter account. And no, I'm just saying. Yeah, on Twitter. at Hanu 70830030. If you just want to type it in, you guys will see it. And the logo, it's just Hanu underscore coach corner. So yeah, Hanu underscore coach corner. Yeah, that's my Twitter. Yeah, but big up everyone who's in the chat. The chat has gone mad. Big up King, big up CM. Yeah, been a nice discussion. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
bring on Brighton, people. Bring on Brighton.
Yeah, man. It's been lit, and big up Hannah. I'm always so impressed, you know, being so young that you are, but having so much knowledge on football and being able to be on camera and speak about it. Honestly, is so impressive, man. The future is under you, and you're gonna smash it. Big up the chat. You always lit, always support us. I've seen that you guys also have subscribed to CM and Hannah. We love to see it, guys. And we will bring you more content. But thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.